for about 2 years. It was mostly military at the beginning, so it's a contract with the military, and our job was to train these cadets in English to get them into a university college, Society University College. And we had some success, but we also had those that came and failed, basically, a considerable number, to be honest. And those that did, at the beginning, fail, were unlike other students. I don't know, how many of you work at a university? When they fail and they're done, they disappear, don't they, generally? Well, these guys, they stayed, and we had to do something with them. They're mostly at the very low level, IELTS 2.5, something like that, CEPA 150, a high school score of 70, and they went into the bridge program because they got the minimum, and then failed. They failed twice, probably level 3 twice, or 3 and 4, and then twice. We have 5 levels, so they were not successful students at all. And as I say, usually you can get rid of them. They go somewhere else. I don't know where they go, but they don't stay on campus, and it's not your job to continue teaching them. So we had this group of about 33 students, and it's a unique situation. These are students that we didn't help in our academic bridge program, who didn't make it, and they were still with us. So it was a kind of opportunity to do something different with them, something else. So it was a pretty quick decision. We kind of learned quite quickly that we had to keep them. So we kind of did this on the hoof, if you like. We had to design a course, and the objective was not to re-enter university. That was just not possible for them. The objective was to keep them interested and behaving in a correct manner for the teacher that had to teach them in the class, and for them to learn something, and to make their learning more enjoyable than it had been in the past. So we designed a very low-level English course. We gave KET. Do you know KET? It's a pretty low-level English exam. Run by Cambridge. It's the final exam, but realistically that exam was not the important thing in this initial course at all. What was important was we got these cadets enjoying what they were doing in the class and behaving and learning. And we decided we'd throw in quite a large ICT component to this course. We had a look around, and there's no strong research on this in the UAE, and we thought, okay, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to try. We think it's going to motivate them. We think they're going to enjoy it more. We hope they're going to learn more, and we'll see what goes on. Yeah,
anecdotally, we know that they like laptops. They like internet.
Yeah.
They like anything to do with technology.
In fact, give them half a chance, and they are on it. Okay. And so we decided to run with this course, and Randy was one of the 2 teachers on it. The course was kind of split into 2 parts. 50% of it was run by Randy, and 50% by another teacher. And
so in my class, they had 2 hours each day, and we only used laptops and internet. There was no textbooks, no paper, no over-teaching the skills. So it's just recycling and using in a productive way, and output tasks using Web 2.0, things they were learning in their other class. That was the theory anyway.
Yeah. And the research didn't happen at the very beginning, okay? We were just interested in getting these lads in the classroom and enjoying what they were doing, rather than perhaps becoming seriously disengaged, perhaps disruptive, and leaving. But as it developed, we thought we can actually use this environment, this setting, to have a look at what happens when this technology is put in front of them. What do they feel about that? Are we right in assuming that they're pretty good at it and they enjoy it? Are we right in assuming that it's going to help them learn? Okay, so we kind of developed 2 kind of questions. The first one was the most important for us, because remember, our primary aim here was not to get them into university or anything. We had to keep them for a year, and we had to make sure that they came and enjoyed and had a good time in the classroom. So it's not like a university prep program at all, in that sense.
So it was sort of a last-ditch attempt to do something with these guys, maybe motivate them in the process and somehow allow them to continue in university.
And we also wanted to look about, just investigate around us, were anything stopping their learning here? Was anything interfering with it? Was anything supporting it? Okay, so it's qualitative, it's some surveys, and we looked at attitudes mostly with the students to the tools themselves, the Web 2 applications, which we'll show you in a minute, their attitudes to learning, their attitudes to autonomy as well. And we categorized it fairly simply with positive and negative comments based on the questions that we sent them.
They did anonymous online surveys.
Yeah, they did a number of online surveys throughout it says 6 months, but to be honest, it was more like 8 months, I think, really. Yeah. Okay. So, what I'd like to do before we talk about what we experienced and what we found is show you what they did, okay?
Not all this.
This is Blogger. It's the...
So, sorry, we've got about 12 different applications we want to show you.
Yeah. So it's going to take about 8 minutes. We'll just talk our way through them. Me or Randy will explain what happened with them. Blogger was the basic one we used. It's the portfolio idea. What students could do with all the other applications, they could embed them into this Blogger. So it's a simple start, and it's a way of collecting all of the different results of the apps they use.
Yeah, this is just a video screen capture of one of the blogs. It's 3 pages, and you can see he's got paragraphs that he's written in class, photos, as well as these apps or applications, which are other websites,
which we'll show you
in more detail in a few minutes. But there are various websites that perform some function, and they're linked and embedded in his blog. So it's also a way of consolidating work they do on other websites as well. So.
And we know, I mean, these guys are not great learners. Their attitudes generally are not positive about doing hard work in the classroom, reading long text, writing, etc. So we thought maybe this way we'd encourage them. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of stuff done there. This is one student. This next application, Scrapblog, is basically a postcard application, which Randy tried.
Yeah, it's a website. You produce these multimedia postcards. You insert text with pictures, videos, music as well. And for example, the assignment here was to write about a holiday that you would like to take or you've taken. So they wrote maybe 100, 150 words. And I checked that with them, and then they typed it up, and then they would apply it into the application. So.
Which again is a considerable amount of work for these students. You'll see actually some of them later. We've got a video of them as well. You'll see that they work.
This is another one. This is called Photo Bucket. It's a photo hosting website similar to Flickr or Picasa. You upload photos. You create slideshows by adding Flash objects, special effects, text. And you see here, it's kind of small, but you see here there's a lot of text and all sorts of speech and thought bubbles. And they were free to write about whatever subject they wanted to. So they would typically write about their friends, their families, their hometowns a lot. And it allows them to use their creativity and do something that they couldn't do on pen and paper. So it's one nice thing about this.
Yeah, I think most of the content that they put on here was personalised, wasn't it?
All about
their experiences, their friends, their town, the football team they like, whatever. This is a timeline application. So basically it's a diary, if you like, and students can write or upload video or text and assign a time or a date to it, and you create a long timeline of events of the student's life. It could be his time within Randy's class.
Yes.
It might be a time in his life. It may not be even him. It might be someone else's experience.
So in this, they just had the past tense. So they were practicing with last summer. What did you do last summer? So they wrote 100, 150 words. They took their own pictures if they have them. If they don't have their own pictures, then they just download some from the internet and they put them there and it creates a timeline. So it's personalized, but in kind of a fun way.
Now a lot of this happened inside and outside the class. It wasn't something we just said off you go and do.
Yeah,
quite a lot of training happening inside the class and assistants and working with the students to help them do this initiative, wasn't there?
There was, but again, they produce a lot of, you'll see, they produce lots and lots of language for the very low-level students, as well as the technology and manipulating it. So they catch on pretty quickly, so you don't have to give them a lot of instructions.
Check it out here. This is Gloucester. It's another application we use with them. We used about 11, as Randy said, over a period of...
There was almost 20 actually. We're just showing you like 12 here. This is you created a multimedia poster and blank page, and you put in your text, and there's all kinds of frames and boxes, and there's various splash objects you can insert. You can insert video, you can insert an MP3, and it creates this kind of electronic poster. And you see these like movement in action. If you click on them, you can hear music. If you click on that, you can hear video. So again, he wrote a lot on there. He wrote probably 250, 300 words to make this.
I mean, we picked these applications because we wanted to offer our students something fun, but also something creative, something that they could make, they could be proud of. Because a lot of the work, to be honest, that they hand into the teachers, they're not proud of what they've done.
Yeah.
You know, it's either copied, or it's half done, or quarter done, or not done. I think they became pretty proud of what they were doing.
Yeah, they take ownership. They take a lot more ownership of it, and I think that's probably the most salient aspect of doing this. You know, which is something they don't normally do. So if you say write 100 words about your holiday or something, they'll scratch it out and give it to you because there's no real audience for it except you, or maybe the rest of the other class. But that's the sort of beauty of Web 2.0. It sort of opened up to the world and creates an audience, which is really, as you know, is really difficult to do in EFL settings. Because normally the audience is just the teacher, maybe the other students, if they're lucky.
And the context is, oh, he's told me to write him this thing.
Right.
You know, and that's it.
Right.
You know?
So with Web 2.0, they can generate content and put it on the internet, which is the basic idea of Web 2.0, is user-generated content.
And the idea here is also that writing is only part of the process. It's not, you know, you sit down with a bit of paper, what are you going to do with your pen?
Yeah.
You're just going to write. And if you don't like writing, that's going to be a hard business for you, isn't it? So there's more to it here. They get to write, of course, but it's within a bigger context with a bigger meaning, perhaps.
Yeah, so it's audience, it's using creativity, it's...
I was going to point out, well, to say that with the younger generation, they're digital natives, so it comes naturally to them, more naturally than perhaps for me. And I think you're really tapping into that.
Yeah, but that's not wholly true, to be honest, is it? It took quite a while to get them off the ground, actually, these labs. I mean, demographically, they came from they didn't come from Abu Dhabi or Dubai. They came from the Northern Emirates, mostly. And I really don't know how much skill and experience and knowledge they had of doing stuff. They had an interest in it, definitely, didn't they?
Some of the guys, maybe 30% of the guys in his classes, type like this.
Oh, so it wasn't natural for them.
No,
this kind of thing.
they never had an email account.
A fairly large percentage, no. Yeah.
They've never had an email account. And the only thing they've seen on the internet is one or two maybe Arabic sites, kind of like gaming websites.
I mean, you guess they've got the mobile and do the texting stuff, but beyond that, no, they didn't have access to this necessarily.
So it's pretty amazing what they can produce. Again, very low-level students.
Are they typing directly into the notes, or are they doing like a draft in Word and then...
It changes. Sometimes they record directly, sometimes you record it on Audacity and you create an MP3 file and then you upload that.
So do they do any like proofing or editing, or is it just get something out there?
Sure. Yeah, I probably do.
Sorry, Rob, could you just pause?
Yeah.
I'll
go back in a minute.
All right. Yeah. The process that I did with them was I would get them to write in their notebooks first for several reasons. Obviously, it's good training for them to write in English by hand, you know, sort of old-fashioned way. And it's also easier to check. Yeah, because if you want to check something, as you know, if you want to check something and give feedback on a Word document or Google Doc or something, you know, you have to sort of insert all these notes, and it's sort of easier just with a pen to check somebody's writing, you know. And then I sit with them, I check their writing, because they like that, you know, they like the feedback, of course. And they want it, because they know it's going to be put on the internet, they want it perfect. So they're really eager to get feedback, and they want it correct. So I would check it, then the next step they would type it up on a Google Doc, on Word, or they would type it directly into Google Docs, which you'll see later. I had the second class set up Google Docs. And then they'll just copy and paste that into the application when they're ready to go. So, from writing by hand, checking it, typing it, onto the...
Publishing it, basically, using an application. This is a mapping application. So, It's just like, well, there's 2 or 3 different types. We pick this one, and they pick a place or a location that something important happened to them, or they felt they wanted to write about or say something about.
Yeah, so this guy, for example, you see he's got 5 events here, and they're all on various times. And this is a true story. It's a car accident that he had. And he ended up doing several applications about this. I think it's kind of traumatic for him. He had quite a serious car accident. He was in the hospital. So each of these events, he's written a paragraph about that event, whatever it was, the crash, arriving at the hospital, recovering at home, etc. And then it's just mapped onto this, and you can zoom in. It's just using like Google satellite technology. You can zoom in, and you can use like a hybrid view, and you can actually zoom in right to their house in some cases, like, which is also very interesting. So if they want to write about their house, Google will zoom in with satellite, and they can put the pin right on their house, which is fun. So
this is another mapping application. The previous one was just one student putting on events. This is the whole class doing it. So they're sharing what they know about the country and where they came from and who they are, etc.
Yeah, these are the pictures they use to represent themselves.
Should this be playing?
No.
And there's with this program, there's everything that they write is recorded. So down at the bottom, you're going to see it in a minute. It's everything that was written.
So this sort of stores it like in a chronological log fashion. So these are all the paragraphs they wrote on that particular mapping. And it's a sort of summary of their individual maps. Yeah.
So as you can see, we focus mostly on their productive skills, to be honest, with this.
Yes.
With these apps. These apps are perfect for it. You design, you create, you make things with them, okay? And the language is used to do that. Apture is another one.
This is a website.
This is the blog, isn't it? Basically. Yeah.
It's a website where you install a small widget or gadget. It's a piece of code that runs in a browser, and you install it into your blog. And with that, you can highlight any word in the text on your blog and create a hyperlink. So, for example, the assignment was, this was a paragraph he'd done previously on his blog. The assignment was to choose 5 words and hyperlink them. So he hyperlinked Friends, for example, and then it went to Wikipedia, and he came up with the TV show Friends, which is a Wikipedia listing. And then in here, I had him write an additional sentence which summarizes what that clip is. Also, YouTube videos, Google Maps. Almost anything you want, you can hyperlink it to, and then you can get them to do additional writing in here as well. So this was about Fujairah, where he's from, so it was a Google map, and then he had to write an additional sentence here. It's getting them to like focus on the language again and again and again.
You could easily use that with vocabulary and definitions, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one's a bit tricky to install, but I think they've simplified it since then. It's been a while since I used it, but I heard it's easier now this one.
They also were asked to create audio files of themselves speaking, and these got uploaded onto the internet. They uploaded onto the internet, made them into podcasts, shared them with each other. We were kind of hoping that you'd be able to hear what's happening, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's difficult to save flash video. I tried, but I was able to.
I'm sure that's going to happen.
He is in Fujairah.
This is just streaming directly on this live.
In Fujairah, he has a big family and a big house. He has 3 brothers, and he is the oldest brother in his family. He works for the police, and he studies art as well.
And you can see these were the different assignments. For example, the first one was important cities in UAE. They worked together in groups of 3. They did a little project. They wrote it up. Now recorded their voices separately live on Audacity. And these are different topics. They were free to choose whatever they wanted. He liked Mr. Bean. He was always writing about Mr. Bean.
He studies hard.
These were some BBC animated videos they wrote about. And then he was free to write to do it. So the assignment was every week to make a podcast. On Mondays, they make a podcast. They could do it on anything they wanted, 3 to 5 minutes, which works out to be like between 100 and 150 words, depending on how fast you speak. So again, it was within sort of the paragraph format, about 100 words or so. And it's also interesting because through this speaking, it actually reinforces the kind of rhetorical patterns that you teach in writing. For example, there should be a kind of an introduction, when you lead into it, and then you should give some examples about whatever it is, and then you should try to make a conclusion. So the same kind of rhetorical patterns that you find in writing, you actually have to do with speaking, interestingly. So you can reinforce each other. Yeah, I'll try to do it.
Yeah.
When did you do the podcast? How did you upload it?
Yeah, we're just going to show you that. We use Podomatic.
Yep.
So basically what they did was they uploaded it onto Podomatic. And they embedded it into their blogs as well, did they not, Randy?
Yes. So they download Audacity, which is a voice recording program. They record their voice, it creates an MP3 file, and then they open an account on this website called Podomatic, and then you upload the MP3 file with a picture or a video, and it creates a posting, basically a blog posting. And these are all his postings. You see, this is directly off the website. And that's what it looks like on his blog, and the other one was the website itself. So if you go to the website, you can see all of it. And this is like the little window that they show on his blog. So another thing they did for speaking was screencasting.
This is done through Firefox, yeah?
Just click that in.
I'm moving very fast, is it?
That's moving on.
Should we move on to the next one? Hold on, let me move back. Shane, basically what they're doing here, is it working? Basically what Randy asked them to do was pick a YouTube video, okay, and basically narrate it. What's happening on this video, what's going on here. Shame we can't have that one. One of them picked Mr. Bean and tried to narrate what he was seeing happening as he watched it. So you see the video itself, the clip, but you'd be hearing this student saying, and now Mr. Bean is doing this or he's doing that, and oh, he's fallen over, and it would be a narration of what that student saw. The second one was when Randy asked them to pick a website in Arabic, an Arabic website, and to describe what that website is and its functions and what it's used for in English. So those were the two activities we did with that, which they enjoyed quite a lot, it seems. I think the Mr. Bean one was most popular, probably. Are we going to get a video?
I have no idea what's happening.
No, we're not. Never mind. So this was an activity that they did. We're going to move on to further story?
Yeah, so the screencasting was, again, as he said, they just had to narrate while viewing something on their screen. In this case, it was a YouTube video. The second was in Arabic.
And what are they using to do this, Randy?
Well, there's different ways, but they use the Mozilla Firefox add-on. It's a screen capture program in Firefox. Okay. They just have headphones, and they just speak directly while they're watching. They just speak directly towards it.
Okay, let's move on. Next.
I woke up early on Friday. I took shower and watched TV. I played some of my exercise.
I don't know what's happening.
We've lost our video, haven't we? Never mind.
My room.
This is a slideshow, basically, of his day. So it starts with a picture of the bed, and it moves on to brushing his teeth and doing certain things. And he's just, again, narrating what he's been doing that day. Move on, Randy. Oh, good.
This is
This is a video project that they did using cameras like this, basically.
This is two speakers. In every class we have one small, and we have there 4 men and 1 recess. This is I buy the coffee. It is expensive vegetarian, but coffee I buy it cost 8 dirhams. Outside Mocha coffee we can buy 1 glass of coffee 5 dirhams. Every day I buy.
You can see we tried all the way through this. The whole thing was that it's about them and about their lives and what they think, and it's their voice, which I think is what encouraged them in the end to produce so much. It wasn't read an article on the Green Revolution or something like that and make some comments about this that they don't care less about. It, to be perfectly honest, they probably don't even understand at that stage. It was as directly into their lives, and what they wrote was what they thought about, what they thought was important.
And these were posted on a blog. There's another blog that was...
Now this blog was private, wasn't it, Randy?
Right, because privacy issues, they don't mind being filmed, but they don't want it put on the internet. So using Blogger, you can just go into privacy settings.
So if you're going to do this kind of stuff, you just got to make sure that your students and your institution are okay about what you're doing there with their images.
So it was a private blog, and all their videos are still on there today, but it's invitation only. So, okay, and we saw that. So, should we go on?
Yeah, just stick it on presenter. Okay. So what did we find out after 4 months of this? Well, we found out that Randy was still alive, which is important, and he was still happy about what was happening, okay? We were honestly expecting to have some difficulties with this. They are completely disenfranchised students, they failed again, and now they're in a fail class, okay? They really probably don't want to be there too much. We expected some serious difficulties there. We probably encountered less than we thought we were going to get, I would say. And as you can see, they really did enjoy what they were doing. It's about 33 students here, so I guess about 2 of them maybe said, we didn't like it that much, okay? But the vast majority enjoyed what they were doing. They really found it an enjoyable way to learn.
And these are guys with really absolutely zero motivation. They didn't want to be there. They questioned everything.
Yeah. And we asked them how much they improved as well, and they were again pretty positive about this. You know, the blue is the excellent, a really great improvement. This red is made a good improvement. And average, and no one said I got worse or didn't learn anything or whatever. Okay. So again, positive data. We asked them, is it better to learn with laptops or books? Because remember, the other half of the class was basically kept practice, if you like, exam practice that was running alongside this. So they were getting 2 hours with Randy doing this stuff, 2 hours on the kept exam practice, vocabulary and grammar, and the usual traditional way of teaching these lads. And yeah, 79% said, we love the laptops, we want only the laptops, really. And 21% said more reasonably, perhaps, that we like both, okay? But there wasn't a student there that said, I want to go back to just learning from the book there. There wasn't one student. However, it's not all good news, by the way, and we'll see later. Photo Peach blog, we asked them what they thought of it, you know, and they just loved pretty much all of these programs. They just thought they were great. What was Photo Peach? Photo Peach, we didn't show you.
Slideshow. It's similar to Photo Story.
And there's a couple of others we didn't show you, but I mean, they just loved pretty much anything Randy threw at them here. It's just something new, something different for them to learn.
And they said the only reason they didn't like this was because it was too much work.
It was too much work, was it? Okay, well there we go.
That's the only reason that was. They thought it was a hassle.
But this was their exam results. And if you know the KET, it's pretty hard to fail the KET exam. We had 3, and only 9, the blue, actually made a pass on it. The rest of them were judged A1 level on CFR, which is not a good speaker, not a good user. Okay, so we got them motivated, which was our main aim. And we got them interested in what they were doing, we got them writing, we got them speaking, we got them reading, but we didn't get them to pass the exam at all.
So basically, all of these students did not pass and had to repeat again.
Well, yeah, all of these things up here, yeah.
But
Absolutely.
compared to other exams, other ways of using, are these results better than others?
Well, this is the problem. We can't make that direct comparison. This is just a case study. We don't have another class which did something else. We don't have any of that. It was not, in that sense, that type of study. I don't know. I mean, it's bad, but remember, all of these guys just failed throughout their time. You know, so perhaps not so bad in the end. So, but we took this on board. We took this on board last spring and thought, what can we do about this? You know, we're going to get most of these guys back in the fall. Okay, we knew from a survey that we'd done this was what they were thinking at the time. They knew their results, and they were obviously, like most young lads, not looking in the mirror in terms of responsibility for success or failure. They were looking elsewhere for the reasons behind this. Most of them attributed their failure to external factors, whatever they were, family or the work or the teacher or this or that, the weather, I don't know. And interesting in terms of autonomy, they really still wanted the teacher in control of what was going on, which may be natural for them, but they wanted things to change as well. So they wanted the teacher to tell them what to do, but they wanted the teacher to know what they wanted to do, I suppose, is one way of putting this, okay? And they had a clear dislike, to be honest, about organising their own learning. All the questions that I asked in the survey about this, they were very negative about it. Asking about schedules and about planning and time management, and no, you tell us what to do, we do it, and if we fail, it's your fault. It's the basic fundamental message there.
We were curious about this issue of autonomy. We thought maybe that's something that they don't have enough chance of doing, planning, making their own decisions, having their own control. So we presented this idea to them, and again, overwhelmingly, they didn't really want it. They said, "You're the teacher, you should tell me what to do."
There's a lot of stuff about Web 2 says, you know, you're allowing the student space, the freedom, the autonomy to do things. It's not teacher-focused, it's not teacher-centered. And this is the paradox here with these kids. You know, they wanted it teacher-centered, teacher-focused, directed. So we made a change, basically. Okay, and we just said, okay, we'll give you what you're asking for. So we switched to we kept the IT, because we know they like the IT. They still like the IT, even though it didn't pass them in the camp. But we decided to let's get as directed as we can. We're going to go to the more behaviouristic, traditional call approach, you know, with the quick feedback exercises, etc., etc. Where Randy will be directing them what to do exactly. And we're going to try and design everything to have a much stronger exam focus, just to see if that increases the chances of success. And we did stuff like this, online grammar practice exercises. You all know this, I think, yeah? Most of you? You find them on the web. So you just get these grammar questions, you have to choose the right answer, you get some immediate feedback and move on and carry on doing this sort of stuff. Online reading practice, short texts, far more KET focused. Far less exciting, perhaps, but far more KET focused. Online vocabulary, similar, yes.
This is fall 2009.
So this is now, yes, fall 2010. Yes.
Right, and how did they take to it?
Ready? Sorry? How did they take to this? Were they happy with it?
Switch in focus from the, what you were doing before, which was very,
Yes, creative.
Very creative, very student-centered, to more traditional call activities. These are the same students, I think.
Yes, same ones. They'll do this stuff till the cows come home. Yeah. They'll never ever get bored doing this.
But the problem is, as you know, there isn't a lot of thought going into what's happening here.
Right.
But did they enjoy the course more? Did they think they're learning more?
You'll see at the end, actually.
Yeah, I'm just saying from your own, I mean, you're in class with them on a regular basis.
Right.
I'm sure you have a sense of their like and dislike of it.
Well, as you're going to see in a minute, we did mostly the stuff because they seem at this point, these 80% of these guys now they had failed their level twice.
Right.
Now they failed the course once. Now they're in the course the second time.
Right.
So these guys are absolutely flat out dejected and had no interest in anything. So this is all I could get them to do in the spring. They had no taste for any of the creative stuff. You'll see that we
didn't
did
work for them, basically, is what they're saying to us.
We did a little podcasting and stuff. They didn't want to do it. They just said, we want cat practice, we want cat practice. That's all they wanted.
They just want to focus on
Well, we found that a bit shocking, to be honest, because we just threw the CAT exam at the end as an external certificate that they might want to have when they leave, There's no further aim to that.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean? There isn't a next step beyond the CAT for them. That was it, basically. So when we designed that first course in the spring, really CAT wasn't our focus at all. It was get them interested in what they're doing was our focus. Get them motivated and more interested. And the CAT was added as a kind of extra at the end.
Yeah.
But it became their focus, as often does with exams with students.
Right.
So we modified and made sure that, what we did was as focused as we could. This one's not going to work either.
Flash disk, the videos were lost on flash. It's not going to play, I think.
No, it's not. Anyway, they're all pretty much similar. They're behavioristic in how they operate. You put in your answer, and you get told you're right, you're wrong, or whatever. Okay? We did continue, didn't we? We couldn't give up on our approach in the spring.
Yeah, it like broke my heart that these guys didn't want to do any more Web 2.0 stuff. So I tried to do what I could. And one thing we did, which they seemed to like, was Google Docs, which I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a platform where you can store documents. They can be like Word documents, Excel, PowerPoint. They have a survey function as well. It's basically like it's an online version of your Microsoft Office.
It's an alternative to the blog as a portfolio device, really, as well. Is the other function.
So I can see at any time I just go in, I can go into Gmail, for example, and I can click on documents from anywhere in the world, and my students will all come up. And then when I click on there, I can see their documents, and they're timestamped, so I can see when, for example, they worked last, and I can see what they put in there. So it's sort of like having a view into your students' computers at all times, But they like that. They like to know that you're looking and that you see it. They enjoy that. So
this is the kind of stuff they stuck in it.
These are a lot of the paragraphs that they use in their applications.
So yeah, there was vocabulary or whatever in there. And pretty much whatever they did in class, Randy asked them, we need a record of this, we're going to put this in Google Docs.
So it's very straightforward, and there's not a lot of creativity, there's no creativity involved, but they like the fact that there's an audience again, even if it's probably just you, they like the fact that it's on the internet. They like that you can look at it. So.
Okay. Again, we finished, and sorry.
I was just going to say, it seems like not just an EFL course, but a multimedia course that you designed, and it has a lot of similarities to the BTEC system in the UK. You might be familiar with. It has a very practical influence, or a practical sort of side to it.
Yeah, we were just trying to use the language, get them to use the language with these contexts. That was the whole idea of it. Whatever the context was, they're going to be using the language in it. And it will be technology-based because I think quite rightly from the survey results, thought it was motivating for them. They liked it and they did. So but we didn't assess them on the technology at all. There was no assessment of that whatsoever.
Did they become better communicators?
In what sense?
Were they able to converse with each other better after all these activities?
No, I didn't see it.
Got to remember where they're coming from. These are, I don't know who they are, but they really are about the worst learners that you can find, to be perfectly honest,
Which is actually the reason why I came here, because I teach at a military institute in Jeddah, and the same type of student, I'm sure. That's what it sounds like. But I came here because the way I look at it, in order for the institute that I work at to become a proper ESP school, 4 things need to happen. First of all, they need to introduce the internet into the school. We have no internet. The second thing is, after that happens, we need stuff like this, I believe, to first of all raise the motivation level, and that's why I came here. After that...
This is why we are here, actually, because I see the value of this is actually kind of high school and perhaps some of the institutions that are having trouble with low-level students and motivation of these students. The motivation works. I mean, we're going to discuss it later, what stopped them learning or where the learning didn't happen so well, which is interesting.
That's what I wanted to hear, more than anything else. Did these things actually improve motivation? Because after that, that's just step 2. Step 3 is actually getting them to pass the tests that are required by the military, and then 4th, hopefully, finally, that they actually learn English. But these first few steps have to happen first.
Fundamentally, if they want to be in the classroom, isn't it? You know, that's a very important fundamental thing.
Well, I think a lot of the guys trying to address it as best we can at the end.
So how long have we got anyway? Not long. Anyway, obviously, they still like it, you know, regardless of what we've done to them. They're still quite happy about what's happening. 80% want to continue nearly. Over 80% still like English. There is discouragement, but they still want to go for it. And they still like English. They're discouraged because they failed. So this discouragement is about, I didn't succeed. But they wanted to continue. They still like laptops. They still like using technology.
Yeah, interesting that at least half of them don't think you should only use laptops.
And we didn't. We had this mix, and I think the majority of them.
Yes. They said, no, we like books sometimes. We like writing. We'd like to have a book. So
we like to do write something with a pencil on a bit of paper sometimes, definitely. As we said,
a lot of ambivalence about autonomy.
Only 50% really wanted to choose and take that responsibility. And those that did generally,
they had no plan.
What they decided that they wanted to do was reduce homework or exam-focused materials. And actually, it's not on here, but the vast majority of them said read magazine, watch TV, very passive, non-structured learning. So those that actually wanted to choose were making a statement, we want to do very little, if possible. Okay? So they remain needing teacher direction, strong teacher direction. They graded themselves, and they were more honest this time. They or perhaps they had more trepidation about their results this time from last time. And they graded themselves fairly low here, a C, C+. They had very mixed responses to traditional teaching approaches. We asked them, do you like reading in a book or on the internet or whatever? The ones that talked about reading traditionally, there were some that said, yeah, I like that idea, but a lot of them were saying, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Whereas when we asked questions about technology, the majority of them were saying, yeah, we do want to do that. So
I would say 80-90% of those 33 original students told me at the beginning of the course they had never looked at a website in English before.
Go with quickly, because I want to talk about what you're talking about, okay? Again, they liked it, but not as much, okay? They missed the creativity, quite possibly, to be honest. Now, you asked me, did they learn how can we make them learn? And what I think we learned most from this, when we set this up, it was on the hoof, as I said. And what we needed to do better, and I think you'll agree, is make sure that those activities that they are doing directly relate to curriculum objectives, that relate to the assessment that's coming. And there was basically no assessment until the test exam at the very end. So what was happening is we were playing with the technology, using it, checking if they enjoyed it, if they found it interesting, if they'd do it. And found out they would do lots. So we were not directing the students as clearly as we should have been directing them. And hands up for that, there was no time to design a proper curriculum. We got given these guys, we thought they weren't going to be here, and then they were here, and okay, we've got to do something, let's make it as interesting as possible. The biggest the biggest thing that we can tell you is that when you use Web 2, you must make it as directed as you can to curriculum objectives. You really have to do that. And you have to assess with this as well. If you don't have it, if you have a different form of assessment, you've got a problem. So yes to question 1, absolutely, definitely. To question 2, far better design, far greater matching with curriculum objectives. So far more thinking about that. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah. Is it possible to have this PowerPoint emailed to us?
Yeah, sure. Just jot your email down and send it to you. Okay? Any other questions? Yeah?
Actually, I feel really bad about this. You know, you've done a lot, and really, I like your spirit. But don't you have in the university, don't you have kind of like an office where it's kind of like an advisor and then a social worker, something who gives them advice on their like psychological problems or something? Because we have this, that's all.
Yeah, we do, and they need everything that they can get, is the truth. And they were getting help through advising. They were getting extra support in the evenings. We were giving them an alternative way of learning. We were doing what we could for them. The truth is, this ended an unsuccessful experiment in some ways. If your aim is to get these students to pass that exam, that marker, yeah, that was not successful. It didn't happen. But our main aim wasn't to do that. They were a window of opportunity for us to have a look at students we'd never seen because they're gone. And think, what can we do to make their time better? And in doing that, we were successful. We did make their time better. Okay, thanks. This is our last slide. Final message? It is not a magic bullet. You want to do a lot of work with it. Thank you.
Is it wrong with I kept with you or picture that it's generation one using went to the classroom, Nicky Hopkins has a new board, how to critically speak and Jeffrey Kennedy. Hey, Tara. It's really useful to